عزمة وصمود
actually do have the power to turn this around when we are organized. The Trump regime actually would like to get rid of workers altogether, but they can't. You know why they can't? Because they wouldn't have any profits if there weren't any workers. They wouldn't be able to build weapons if there weren't any workers. They wouldn't be able to transport those weapons across the world if there weren't any weapons. So we have to take that lesson. They are coming after workers because we have power that they fear. Right. But we can only realize that power when we are organized and when we are unified. So our task right now is to build unity and build solidarity and build organization. So we have a number of events, rallies, protests from now, Land Day, until May Day, the historic celebration of worker power. And so we all need to be there. We need to not only be there, but build those events. We need to give people confidence to resist. Because if we don't do it now, there will never be a moment. So from Land Day to May Day, we stand in solidarity with each other and we commit to organizing and building until our power is sufficient to turn this around. Solidarity.
The great slogan of the labor movement in the United States is an injury to one is an injury to all. And that is nowhere more clear than on the question of Palestine. Look at what they did at Columbia. They went after Mahmoud Khalil, and you know who was the next person they expelled and fired from his job at Columbia was Grant Milner, a Jewish labor leader of undergraduate workers. That makes it absolutely clear that an attack on Palestine is an attack on the U.S. labor movement. And that means the U.S. labor movement must wake up. Palestine is the wedge issue to divide and conquer our side. That means we have to fight for Palestinian liberation inside the U.S. labor movement. Because you know what? The workers united will never be defeated. The workers united will never be defeated. The workers united will never be defeated. That's why all of us have to be there on May Day with all of our union siblings, all of our friends, all of our unorganized workmates and people at work, and all the people in our community. Bring them all to May Day. From Land Day to May Day, that's your calendar for the next month. Our last speaker in the first block is Jaina Asaf from Free Her, who always speaks truth to power and knows the fight against racism is part of the fight for all our liberation. Give it up for Jaina.
Hello, beloved community. We gather today to honor Palestinian Land Day, a day that symbolizes resistance, resilience, and the unyielding fight for liberation. Let this also be a day to confront the systems of oppression that continue to silence and control us. Mahmoud Khalil's story is a stark reminder of the true functions of the systems of policing, prisons, and deportation. He was torn from his family, transferred thousands of miles away, and subjected to inhumane conditions. His only crime was exercising his right to free speech to advocate for Palestinian liberation. Mahmoud's story is not an isolated incident. Incarcerated Palestinians, activists, migrants, and the people in our own Vermont prisons are all connected by the same chains. Their freedom and our freedom are intrinsically interwoven. We should see this more clearly now that it's broadcast across our screens as the government continues to kidnap and disappear people. We have been screaming from the rooftops that laws exist to protect the powerful while ensnaring the rest of us into these vicious systems. We see people who have murdered and abused occupying the highest offices in government with no accountability, while those who dare to dream of freedom are criminalized and punished. These systems are not designed to protect us. They are designed to expand the empire's reach over our lives. Prisons, policing, and deportation form the backbone of a machine that feeds on our communities, fracturing families and instilling fear. This is not justice. This is a system that has abandoned us, a government that has proven it does not care for us. Despair must not be our answer at this moment. As Miriam Kaba reminds us, hope is a discipline, and bell hooks, love is an action. We must lean into each other, into our collective strength and solidarity. It is up to us to create our freedom, not through their systems, but through our own. It is our duty to continue to build networks of care and protection, ensuring that when they come for us, we stand ready, not as individuals, but as a united force. Thank you.
Hey, hey, ho, ho, apartheid has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, apartheid has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, apartheid has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, apartheid has got to go. People have to realize apartheid is there and here. We have an apartheid labor system in the United States where there's one set of laws for, quote, citizens and another set of laws, criminalization for migrant labor. That is an apartheid regime in the United States. It's a racist regime that we have to smash in occupied Palestine and here in the United States. It's a common struggle across borders. So I just want to explain how the march is going to work. So this is going to be the lead banner right here. So follow the Free Palestine banner. We're going to march up chanting all the way to the top of Church Street, back down for a concluding rally and crucial announcements about plans that are afoot for the Burlington City Council. So come back. I'm just giving you a taste of what's going to come. So come back and we'll have a fantastic group of final speakers. So take it away, Alyssa. Start leading the chants. Go to the front. You guys go to the front.
All right. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Long live Palestine!
Long live Palestine! Long live the Intifada!
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Long live Palestine! Long live the Intifada! 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 Long live the
Well, I'm so excited about this event. It's like the Vietnam War movement all over again. With campus protests and public events, we are beginning to build a mass campaign against the repression that's coming down from the Trump administration. And this is a fantastic event with these flags and these banners, and so many people have come out today. And I'm really excited about the events that are scheduled throughout the month of April leading up to the May Day event. So people have to realize that Trump is on the attack. He's on the attack, and we've got to unite to defend the people he's picking out. Right now, He's come first for the Palestinian immigrants. And we've got to defend them because we don't know who's next, but someone's going to be next if he succeeds at this imprisonment and deportation. Mahmoud Khalil is the tip of the iceberg. This is fascism on the march. Unity is needed. Building the movement, participating. This is no time for sitting on the fence. This is the time for action. Everybody come out.
Today we are in serious trouble. Our country, which was formed by the Constitution, Thomas Jefferson and many people, they worked hard, they were Bill of Rights, etc. It's fact, it was by the people, for the people, from the people. On that time when the Constitution was written, the people were only wealthy, white, so it has changed a great deal, we came out. But today, we have got a serious problem because our democracy is being taken, purchased, our president has been sold for not billions but for few $1 million. And they're doing all the thing to hurt the American, our own citizens. They're cutting the thing from the many causes, from the school, from the food program, from the education department is demolished because without education, so our top priority is saving our democracy and the Constitution. So if you are a patriotic American, if you have read that Constitution, that how rich and how unique it is time to come out on 5th of April and say loudly and clear that this is enough and we don't want this outsider fascist to be running the thing. He should be deported or sent to jail or whatever, because this is enough. And act now before it gets too late.
All right, give it up, everyone.
Shall I do the announcements?
I guess so, yeah. Now Ashley's going to do some important announcements, so everyone listen up. Thank you.
All right, everybody. So as people know, we don't get any corporate funding for this movement. This movement is a people's movement. So please give generously at the bucket there. You can also give over Venmo. It's the only way a people's movement can sustain itself. We are not an NGO. We don't take money from corporations. This is a people's funded movement, so we have to fund it. So please give generously. Also, I want to announce plans for the April 5th demonstration, the hands-off demonstration. If people notice the call to action that was issued by organizers for across the state, it says hands off everything except Palestine. We have to understand this as an opportunity to bring our slogan of hands off Palestine into the middle of that demonstration. So we want people to take flags for your town and show up and say that Palestine will never be excluded ever again from this movement against Donald Trump. And that's not just a moralistic demand, a moralistic stand. It's an understanding of the strategic centrality of Palestine for Donald Trump and for us. He sees this as a way to divide and conquer, use it as a wedge issue. We see it as a means to unite us in an opposition to Trump that leaves no one behind. So grab a flag, show up on April 5th, and say proudly, hands off Palestine. Next, as people know, our democratic rights and everywhere, here and everywhere, are in mortal peril right now. The politicians in both parties are coming after our right to freedom of speech, our right to assemble, our right to dissent, and our right to protest. They are literally ripping up the U.S. Constitution before our eyes. Donald Trump is the spear, but the Democrats are going along right behind him in this effort. That's why the Vermont Coalition for Palestinian Liberation will be introducing a resolution to the Burlington City Council to demand that they defend our First Amendment right as Palestine solidarity activists in this town and at UVM to speak out, to protest, to assemble, to dissent, and oppose this genocide. It will be a test for the Democratic Party. Are they with democracy or with Donald Trump? You are on one side or the other. The people are with Palestine. We know that. Winooski proved it. The question is, are the Democrats with Palestine or Donald Trump? So at one of the next few city council meetings, that resolution will be introduced by the Progressive Party. Look out for emails and social media announcements on when that resolution is going to be introduced, because we want everybody to turn out and testify in support of Palestine and our First Amendment rights in this country. And then just the last couple of announcements, and then we'll have our speakers for the rest of the rally. First, as people who were at the emergency demonstration for Mahmoud Khalil a week and a half ago in front of the federal building heard, I said we were going to have a hot spring. It's cold today, but spring is going to be hot, a hot protest month of activism in the run-up to May Day. So first, April 17th at UVM, we're going to have a big protest in defense of higher education and Palestinian rights and Palestine solidarity rights at UVM. Please come out and support that protest when it gets announced. And then, as I said earlier, we're going to have a May Day rally in Williston. It will be a march on the ICE data facility and then culminate in a protest and rally in support of migrant justice and their campaign to get Hannaford to join Milk with Dignity. So as Helen said, from Land Day to May Day, that's your protest calendar, and every key day in between. Build our forces, organize our forces, so that by the time May Day comes, we are an irresistible movement for Palestinian liberation, workers' rights, migrant justice, and all the rights that we need to defend and advance in this country. Finally, come to the next coalition meeting of the Vermont Coalition for Palestinian Liberation on April 19th at 1 p.m. Look out for details that will be coming out soon. And with all those announcements, we have next up Jackson. Come on up here. Where's Jackson? Here comes Jackson. I'll entertain you while he approaches the stage. Please give it up for Jackson Francis from the Party for Socialism and Liberation.
The ruling class has greenlit Israel to completely eliminate Gaza Incomprehensibly, this phase of the genocide is unlike anything we've seen in the last 18 months. The Zionist entity, with our full support, is pushing more than 2 million people into a refugee camp of tents with no infrastructure whatsoever. This so-called humanitarian zone has already been bombed hundreds of times. Palestinians in Gaza, with the few words they can get out of the strip, are telling us that the bombs dropped in the past 12 days are somehow more destructive than the bombs dropped before. Children from 6 to 8 are being murdered the most, apparently because kids that age are too big to be carried, but too small to run fast enough. That is the world, the barbarity that the ruling class wants you to accept as normal. Now, more than ever, this is a moment to get organized and collectively tackle the questions plaguing our movement. How do we keep each other safe? How do we keep each other safe? From their naked attacks on activists through kidnappings, disappearances, and deportations. How can we show up for our students, our international or undocumented comrades, and the rest of us who are next in line to be targeted by this extreme right ruling class? The answers to those questions, comrades, lie in mass struggle and effective organization. But now is a time when we, a crowd of Mahmoud Khalils in waiting, must also mass mobilize. We must mobilize in order to demonstrate, not just to the ruling class, but to our class as well, that we are not shrinking away in this moment, thinking of individual securities, and that instead we choose the approach of keeping each other safe collectively. That is why it is imperative to show out for the National March on Washington on April 5th. Tell the Trump administration we say no to genocide, we say no to mass deportations, no to illegal attacks on activists, students, and labor. Do not stand aside. Do not say that you have too much going on. Do not think that you can stay home because you've been to this protest. Everyone's free speech rights are under attack, and everyone's tax dollars are funding this genocide, so everyone must come together in Washington. I want to see all of you there this Saturday, April 5th, 1 p.m. at 3rd and Pennsylvania. Bring your friends, your family, your comrades. Find a way to get there. Drive, join the PSL's bus, take the train, fly. Find a way to attend this critical mobilization called by more than 200 organizations to protect our rights here and to stop the genocide there. There is only one solution. There is only one solution. One solution. Good enough.
Thank you, Jackson. All right, just one more time. If you guys want to go to DC, we're organizing a bus, okay? All right. So next up, we have Crystal with Healthcare Workers for Palestine. Woo, woo, woo.
Hi, everyone. My name is Crystal, and I only have 2 minutes, so I'm going to keep it pretty brief. But first, I wanted to say that everything that these past speakers have said really does tie together, right? As Rafiq mentioned, and many others mentioned, we're all connected. But when we talk about, like, Colombia, as Ashley mentioned, they targeted a Jewish activist. And when they were expanding to buy up housing throughout Manhattan and displacing a bunch of the residents, they displaced a bunch of Jewish residents who had organized against this unlawful seizure of houses. When Jana talked about private prisons, we look at Trump, who has given billions of dollars in grants and funding to ICE for use of prison labor. And we can go all the way back to the times that this very country was founded, where our profits were based off the exploitation of Africans who were kidnapped. And then when slavery was abolished, the 13th Amendment said you can still have slave labor as long as it's in response to someone committing a crime. And we have prison labor, not Vermont though, shout out to Vermont, in its constitution, it has made prison labor illegal. However, all that is to say, these causes are all connected. It truly is the same beast looking to oppress all of the workers of the world, all of the people of the world, to squeeze as much profit as they can from all of us to fatten their pockets. And it is starting in Palestine. We as Americans have had that benefit of being able to live here and enjoy these privileges. But it is going to come to us eventually. When they have squeezed all they can out of the peripheries of the world, it will come here. And it is coming here. Now, that's all good to say. Well, no, it's terrible to say, but that's easy to say. But what can we do about it? And that's why I'm here to once again mention our boycott of TIVA. Now, Teva is a generics manufacturer. It is based in Israel. During the 2023 occupation and genocide, it withheld life-saving drugs from Gaza. It repeatedly withholds crucial drugs from the West Bank. It is also America's largest generic medication manufacturer, and it has been responsible for billions of dollars of lawsuits here in America. So, our healthcare crisis here in America, as another speaker mentioned, forgive me, I don't remember who, it truly is connected. It is quite literally the same company withholding life-saving drugs in Israel, charging us out the butt for drugs here in America, and it truly is the same struggle. So here's what I'm going to say. You can do something about this. Me and some of my friends have handed out flyers. If you haven't gotten one, please come find me after this little speech. I'll be happy to give you a flyer. We have launched Generics Without Genocide. It is U.S. law that every generic medicine has to have the same bioavailability, which means it works the same. And it is also completely legal for you to call your doctor, for you to call your pharmacist and say, I do not want to have Teva fill my generics. As someone who works at a pharmacy, I can tell you, we switch the generic medicine that we give all the time based on our supply. And most people don't even know it. That is to say, we have the freedom and the ability to say, I do not want Teva. You don't even have to say for this reason. You can just say, hey, put a note in my profile, put a note in my prescription, do not fill with Teva. And they have to honor that and send it to the pharmacy. Insurance companies also cannot discriminate based on this, which is why when you get coupons like GoodRx, it doesn't say a brand, it just says the drug. So, I'll save the link over the speaker. It's pretty long, so I'd probably suggest coming up to me after. But in case anyone is watching this recording later, it's linktr.ee/generics without genocide. Please, if you do not have a copy, come find me. On our link tree, we have scripts you can use to call your doctor, call your pharmacist. It'll take less than 2 minutes, and it'll show us Teva, one by one, that we really do have the power to choose where we get our medicine from, where we put our money, and who we stand with. Thank you so much, and free Palestine!
Give it up for Crystal. One of the things that Crystal referred to is the movement for boycott, divestment, and sanctions against the apartheid regime of Israel. And we in the Vermont Coalition for Palestinian Liberation are proud to advocate that. We raise the demand. What do we want? BDS. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? All right, next up we have Paul Fleckenstein from the Tempest Collective. Please give it up for Paul.
Hi all, it's great to see everyone here. I want to talk a little more specifically about strategic questions for our movement at this point. We're here today recognizing 100 years of Palestinian defense of land, resistance to Western settler colonial project, resistance to ethnic cleansing and apartheid, and now genocide against the indefensible ethno-nationalist project that is Israel. Palestine also now holds more clearly a vital role in our fight against ethno-nationalism internationally, and specifically against Trump's Christian national project at home. Here, MAGA is a reactionary project to return the U.S., again, going back 100 years to an era of unchecked business power, authoritarian control over the working class, unchecked racism, and enforcement of traditional gender roles. So unfettered capitalism at home where bosses do what they want, unfettered great power politics internationally. Fortunately, there's growing opposition to this business takeover of government, and there is a developing struggle alongside the vicious repression by the state aimed most powerfully at immigrant supporters of Palestine liberation. Our obligation is to put free Palestine as a constituent part of the general resistance to Trump. And a couple of points about that we should be clear on. there's no such thing as progressive except for Palestine. There is no working class solidarity without Palestine. Solidarity with Palestinians means that we fight for class solidarity with immigrant workers, with trans folk, with African Americans, with indigenous people, and all oppressed people under attack. Breaking with Palestine solidarity opens the way to breaking all the other solidarities. And it weakens our side. The Palestine movement knows, like the migrant justice movement knows, that we have to be politically independent, that both parties are the problem, and that we are the ones who fight for our future. The Palestine movement understands confronting Zionist ethno-nationalism. Zionism's allied with the Christian nationalists occupying the White House. Democracy and equality and righting historical wrongs is what we demand for Palestine, and it's what we must demand for the U.S. The Palestine movement understands apartheid. The nationalist rulers see their model as apartheid in Palestine and in South Africa. Although legal apartheid has been overthrown, South Africa is the most economically unequal country in the world. Where the Palestine movement has developed democratic coalitions, has inspired millions with encampments, has gone on strike to protect free speech, like campus union members did in California, and where the Palestine movement has defied repressive laws, that's what we have to bring to the general resistance to Trump. Where our movement has stood against the imperial power of the U.S. in the Middle East that boomerangs repression back to us, and where we have stood against ecocide in Gaza, we have to bring this political horizon to the fight against authoritarianism and for a livable future for the planet. So on March 5th, we should be there wherever there are demonstrations. I'm sorry, April 5th and on May 1st. April 5th, South Burlington, Montpelier, St. Albans, Jericho, Shelburne, many other places. So we need to be there to support the general resistance and to make sure Palestine's part of it. So as people have said, hands off our health care, hands off our unions, hands off our immigrants, and hands off Palestine.
Thank you, Paul. Let's give it up for Paul with Tempest Collective. Woo, woo, woo. All right. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. All right. Next up and last of our speakers, we have Jason from Champlain SJP. Give it up for Jason.
Hi, my name's Jason. Thank you all so much for being here. Today, March 30th, 2025, we stand in solidarity with our Palestinian comrades to remember the events of March 30th, 1976, when 6 unarmed Palestinians were killed by Israeli forces during protests against Israel's illegal occupation of Palestinian land. The first Land Day represented a turning point in the commitment to Palestinian liberation, and this Land Day is no different. A defiance of colonialism and a celebration of resistance, and a struggle for liberation which continues to this day. We've seen bombings recommence in Gaza after the 2-month ceasefire has officially been broken by Israel. But what we've also seen is that ceasefire agreed upon by Israel has not been and was never intended to be sufficiently abided. Israel's torturous onslaught of the Palestinians is not exclusive to bombs and bullets. During this 2-month period, the IOF has persisted in their efforts to bleed the residents of Gaza as thoroughly as possible by consistently blocking aid against the demands of international law and redirecting aggressions towards the occupied West Bank. Palestinians continue to be deliberately starved and deprived of their most basic needs. Can we earnestly call these conditions a ceasefire? In just the course of the past 10 days, hundreds have already been murdered and thousands more have been displaced. But our purpose in being here today is not to stand here and read numbers to you. The Palestinian people are far too often reduced to numbers. Remember that every death count you see is a life cut short by the evils of colonialism. Every number of displacement is a person that was forced to leave their home behind under the threat of violence and death. Every count of food insecurity is a person going hungry and fending off starvation any way they can. This is not a numbers game. I ask us all to remember the real lives and real people that this genocide is afflicting. As U.S. inhabitants, our solidarity with the Palestinian struggle is of renewed importance. Our government has not only been complicit, they have been actively aiding in this genocide from the start. Less than 24 hours after the ceasefire was shattered, Netanyahu openly thanked President Donald Trump for his unwavering support of Israel. This administration has proven that it will do anything to silence criticism of Israel and to see that the end goals of the apartheid state are realized through any degree of brutality necessary. This support comes in the form of hundreds of billions of dollars in military support, of course, but it also includes a much more pressing and actionable threat: the power of control, information, narrative, and opinion through the obliteration of dissent. The recent arrest of Palestinian activists such as Mahmoud Khalil, a legal and permanent resident of the U.S. and a respected activist, are our warning signs of this impending threat. He was deemed a non-citizen threat due to his involvement with the Columbia University Palestine Solidarity encampment. He has committed no crime, yet was detained by ICE without any proof that his green card had been revoked. Ranjani Srinivasan was pursuing a PhD from Columbia University when her student visa was revoked after she was branded a terrorist sympathizer. She was forced to flee the country. Rumesh Ozturk, a Tufts graduate student, was kidnapped by plainclothes ICE officers after writing an essay in support of the Palestinian people. She is currently being held in an ICE detention center in Louisiana. These are not the only student activists to be detained, and they will not be the last. These activists are crying out in opposition to a horrifying genocide, and they are being met with state violence and political disappearances. These activists are the same as us, individuals who have seen the atrocities committed in Gaza, and thus could not turn a blind eye to the injustices that gestate within, permeate through, and ultimately build the structure of our society. We must fight against these unlawful arrests, not only for the sake of these individuals, but also for the sake of our movement at large, and the well-being of the Palestinian people and all other peoples who have been maimed, dispossessed, and brutalized by colonialism, past and present. We have watched the greatest horrors of mankind be committed in the open view of the broadest daylight, yet the response we hear to this is deflative and dismissive. We see unfathomable atrocities. We hear tired excuses. The result, the world goes on as it always has. It is more than sickening, it is maddening. However, we cannot allow this to placate us. In the face of a regime that wants to silence an idea and strip away our right to protest, we must let them see our rage. In face of an unjust and cruel world, we must let them see our frenzy. In the face of injustice and turmoil, we must make them see our drive to make the world a better place. When student rights are under attack, what do we do? When student rights are under attack, what do we do? Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Long live Palestine! Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. All right. So we're going to close today. Thank you to all our speakers. Thank you to everyone coming out in this weather. Thank you for coming out to commemorate Land Day in solidarity with the Palestinian people and one another in the struggle for all of our liberation. We know that we are powerful together. We are the majority, and we, the people, will continue to have that power. Let's leave here today feeling empowered to continue standing with Palestine, our migrant siblings, and in protection of our First Amendment right. Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! From Palestine to Mexico! These border walls have got to go. From Palestine to Mexico. These border walls have got to go. All right, solidarity, everyone. Get home safe. Thank you.
There is nothing more American than standing alongside our human brothers and sisters who are being silenced. The only way that anything will change is if we stand together. Do not allow yourself to become numbed. Do not allow yourself to succumb to the Stockholm Syndrome that currently plagues this country. It does not have to be this way, and one day, everyone will have always been against this.
So it's Palestinian Land Day, and it's also a year and a half of genocide, open genocide. There's been ethnic cleansing in Palestine for many decades now, and Palestinians have been living in that area for generations, and there are Palestinians within the state of Israel, official state of Israel, who have less rights than Jewish citizens, but the Palestinians who were kicked out of their homes are under full apartheid and genocide at this point. And they're being killed simply because they want to stay in their homes. And the low estimate of people who've been killed is 50,000 and tens of thousands of children. And the high estimates as of last summer, not even this summer, was 180,000 to above that, given the amount of destruction of civilian infrastructure. And there's intentional targeting of food systems and land, and in the West Bank, people have been being displaced for generations, and their food systems destroyed. And I think Land Day is important because it is about what this conflict is about, which is not religion. It's about land and Western powers coming together to establish a base in the Middle East to exploit the entire Middle East. And these were colonialist powers, including Germany. So it has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with land. And when we talk about land, I think people in the U.S. have to realize that it's a long-term struggle here as well. And if we want to have a chance to succeed in liberating Palestine and liberating people in this country and all over the world, we have to recognize what people in other countries have done, which is they have had to withstand not just overt violence, but also sanctions and being thrown off of bank systems. And the first thing that people who get liberated in other parts of the world do is build food systems that are sovereign. And so we have to do that here as well. And it will help us if people are kicked off their bank accounts, or all of these mechanisms which are pretty clearly coming and have been used already. And it's very clear that the Palestinian movement is being targeted. And so everyone who recognizes genocide and the U.S. empire and injustice in the United States and around the world has to be trying to establish food sovereignty and land sovereignty for themselves as well.